Alright. We got... I like a man in uniform, though. Okay, sure. Okay, we got a new offer. An offer we haven't had, I'm pretty sure, from looking at this carefully. This is the first works of theirs that we get to read, the first SCP of theirs. And the name is called Wills. W-I-L-S, Wills. Alright, Wills. Welcome to the Fluff, Wills. Maybe you see this in the future popping up over YouTube. By the way, Ken, that's another thing. A couple of the SCP offers actually have seen my stuff and have like reached out to me. Which is like crazy to think about. But yes. Okay, we got Los Ocultos, which is definitely Spanish for the cult. If I'm not I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that... Oh, actually no, it means the hidden. Interesting. Well... Okay, the hidden, okay. Here we go. This is what Steph would be have been like, no, Afro, that's not how it's actually called, because Steph speaks Spanish. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-2961 is to be housed within a standard humanoid containment unit at Site 62. When not in use, the structure, furnishings, and any personal effects where possible are to be checked for anomaly related changes. Any items thus affected are to be replaced as required and forwarded to F-Lab for ongoing analysis. Until all anomalous behavior is understood, testing, research and interviews are to be conducted at least 20 meters from its containment and or prior location. Footnote. Interviews with an anticipated maximum length of less than 10 minutes may also be held in the dedicated containment unit. Under these conditions, SCP-2961 must be relocated every 30 minutes to a different Class 3 research/interview suite. No additional security is required every 30 minutes. God, that's... Man, you're busy with this one. Contact with SCP-2961 is limited to no more than 30 minutes in any 4-hour period, after which assigned personnel must undergo DNA refranking and revised retina/fingerprint ID authorization to ensure continued security access. Another footnote. Oops. This applies equally to any other current/future scanning technologies where identification is key to unique biological features, whether DNA-based or otherwise. This is to be performed within 1 hour of last contact. I like my women in non-human uniforms. So alien. Note that for research purposes, drug dependency can be introduced and or discontinued as required. In this case, enhanced containment protocols/care standards apply. There's a lot of slash happening here. Apply as agreed by SCP-2961. See additional documentation. SCP-2961 is considered category NH/FC with zero contraindications for the purpose of research, interaction, and breach risk analysis, and as such, quality of life standard Western Man A applies. Non-hostile, fully compliant. Oh, okay. Why just alien Afro? I'm an all eater. Yes, that's random. I know. True, you could also have a. Well, I mean, I don't know if like I guess animal skin uniform, which is still human made, so I don't. So that's why I'm like, I think the only way that can work if it's a fully alien and not from this world. SB description: SCP-2961 is the physically non-anomalous human male Ralph Flores. Non-anomalous human male, then why the fuck are you in here? Get out of here! When SCP-2961 enters a clearly defined, physically bound location, any phenomena that could be classified as forensic evidence, as understood by SCP-2961, will exhibit a progressive degradation and or transformation to the point of neutralization. This degradation is relative to physical proximity to SCP-2961. Evidence both anecdotal and empirical indicates that this is an involuntary, permanently ongoing phenomena that does not impact, hinder, or otherwise interfere with SCP-2961's standard biological or psychological function. So forensic... Oh, I see. So forensic evidence, like any, so that's why the fingerprints and eye scan, if that's forensic evidence, so that vanishes quickly. Oh, this guy would be horrible if he was a detective. Forensic, what do you have for me? Well, nothing. Nothing. What do you mean nothing? What? Weren't you, like, doing your thing? Yeah, we were doing our thing, but, it vanished. Well, not vanished. The fingerprints, they vanished. Like, I was dusting them, and, as I was dusting them, they slowly but surely, actually fast and surely, vanished. Oh? Ow. Said forensic degradation will take the form of either 1, a progressive failure of identifiable genetic structure so that same can be recognized as human blood, for example, but cannot be linked to any individual. Oh my god. Or 2, a transformation into a physically and or medically similar artifice, for example, white powder recovered from the bathroom of a murdered civil servant together with a mirror and a razor blade was positively identified as talc, although a separate foundation autopsy suggests the same has been inhaled prior to death, and trace quantities of talc were found in the victim's bloodstream congruent with cocaine use. So it literally, yeah, it just literally either transforms or erases evidence. Oh my god, that would make any research. Imagine if this guy was around when the Foundation's trying to like find an SCP and then like they're trying to like, you know, follow footprints or like follow like DNA with like a canine, a scent, and it just ceased to exist because this guy was around. What do you have for me? Nothing. Nothing. Sprinkle a bit of nothing. You know this is your job. You know this is your job, right? Like, you should be taking this more seriously. I am. That's a problem, Doctor. I am taking this job seriously, but it just doesn't exist. Discovery: Raul Flores was born in Delicias, Mexico, on the 23rd January 1968 to Felix Alfonso, deceased in 1977, 8th 13th, and Maria Concerta, deceased 1986, 12th 30th. Autopsies and medical records of same grandparents and great-grandparents on both sides, plus covered DNA analysis of offspring, have revealed 0 indications of any physical anomaly. Okay, so that is basically saying like that's the only thing they can actually trace from him. Gotcha. Flores rose to prominence in the 1990s as an increasingly influential and how do you say this? Vociferous. Okay, and meaning? Expressing or characterized by vehement opinions, loud and forceful. Okay. And vociferous critic of both Mexico's drug cartels and the Mexican government, citing the former practices and methodology and the latter's apparent inability and or unwillingness to curb them as leading factors in Mexico's perceived socio-economic decline. On the 3rd of April 2004, Raul Flores disappeared. It's believed his disappearance and a subsequent public outcry were decisive factors in the election of Felipe Calderón to the Mexican presidency in December 2006, and a catalyst for the crackdown on drug trafficking and the commencement in the same month of the so-called Mexican drug war. Foundation asks SCP-2961, so what do you bring to the table? SCP-2961 responds with, nothing. Yeah, it'd obviously be a mobster's dream. Yeah, of course it would be. Any evidence and of you dealing with, like, doing drug deals or committing crimes just disappears when he's around? Absolutely, they would. He's like the good luck charm for them. Flores came to the Foundation in direct attention following the collapse of numerous high-profile criminal prosecutions against members of the Los Ocultos cartel during these actions, all of which failed through lack of or destruction/misappropriation of allegedly incriminating forensic evidence. Yep, and was positively identified after the capture of the several CCTV and cell phone recordings of anomalous activity by cartel-embedded agents. That's crazy that the Foundation have agents in the cartel. I mean, it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. Like, like Foundation needs agents everywhere, even in crime areas. But like, still, read that sentence. It's kind of wild. Containment was finally achieved in April 2012 in Chihuahua, Mexico at redacted Catholic school, the scene of a triple execution carried out by cartel members and local law enforcement officers. It reminds me of that scene in the Men in Black movie where they remove your fingerprints and so on in movie. Oh, yeah. By the way, Kenzie, you still there? We're not like bothering you with like cooking because that's what you're doing right now, eh? Induction interview 0 dash 0 okay 00 I hear. Okay. SCP-2961 here referred to by name to aid corporation. Induction officer Dr. J. Pascal. Induction interview 00124 2 hours after extraction. You happy with the assurance you've been given? Don't nod. Sorry, yes. Okay, let's begin. I'd like to ask you some questions about the last few years, specifically 2004 to date. I don't know, We can stop at any time, there's water in the beaker, help yourself. Okay, thank you. I've seen the footage leading up to your rescue. What's still viable at least? You're standing in the middle of a classroom wearing a pinafore apron with a feather duster, surrounded by gang members taking it in turns to pistol whip you. Please. 3 deceased minors on the floor, gunshot wounds to the head. George Marquez 13, Valeria Marquez 8, Penelope Vegas 3. Oh, these poor kids. Please, over the course of 7 minutes, their blood either disappears or becomes some other fluid. Ink, or paint, or blood, or indistinct DNA lineage. Bullet holes in the floor and walls become larger, not bullet holes anymore. When we assume where bullet casings are unidentifiable as such, more like scraps of metal, and you shall stand there. Please, I had to. While the blood and everything else became untraceable, I didn't hurt those poor little things. I would never accept it. Just so we're straight, you're not being accused of anything. We have no interest in pursuing any kind of punitive action. So what are you interested in? What do you want to know? I'd like to understand the progression from balls to the walls, people's hero to pinafore apron wearing accomplice from Mexico's third largest cartel. What a sentence. Poor guy, sounds like he's a slave. He definitely is. Does a nice preference, you mean reference, if you smell what Kenzie is cooking. Also, I think that's still a reference today. I mean, like, you smell what the Rock is cooking. It's not like it stayed in the 90s. Like, that's still like it's still like his catchphrase. It hasn't changed. Can you tell me how Mexico's foremost campaigner for the disappeared ended up actively covering up the murders? Where do you want me to start? The beginning would be fine. Okay, the beginning. I was what you'd call an oversensitive child. Can you elaborate on that? Of course. When I was 8 or 9 out playing, I found a deer that had been hit by a truck. A beautiful thing. Ruined beyond recognition. I dragged it off to the road, used my shirt to clear up the blood as best I could. There was a stream nearby. I washed the shirt and went back and washed the deer's face. Well, that's a lovely gesture from a child to do. I'd never been so close to one before. I was very moved, very sad. Cleansed it as best I could and left it a little ways off the roadside. How can life be so meaningless? That was the seed, the start of it. Positive action. Everything I ever did afterwards was born of that day. My mother shouted at me for coming home with no shirt. Thank you. The rest of your life is well documented right up to your disappearance. Take me through it. April the 3rd, 2004. It was a beautiful day. I was coming home from a wedding, driving on a side road, maybe 9 kilometers south of Camargo, listening to a news report about terrorists in Spain blowing themselves up in their apartment. I turned the corner and I have to slam on the brakes. There's a wreckage everywhere. A white sedan had careered off the road after hitting a deer. A deer? I know. I think it has just happened. Occupants of the white car? 3 occupants. The driver was dazed and covered in blood. There was a dead woman and a little girl unconscious in the back. Blood and vomit and shit and piss everywhere. Overpowering. Christ. The deal was just pulp. The woman's bladder was exposed, torn open, pissing under the seat. Go on. The child was beginning to come around. I didn't want her to see her mother like that. I wanted the blood to go away. What happened? I guess the deer in the roadside took me back. Reminded me of that incident all those years back before. I wanted to make a difference this time. Talk me through it. The blood. I made it go away. I willed it. I don't know. The blood became salsa, became water. It evaporated in the end. The shit and piss and vomit became mud. I dried in the dust. The interior of the car didn't look like an abattoir anymore. How did you evoke it? It was my emotion. I was crying. Shaking. Once I realized what was happening, I was able to... I can't think how to describe it. It was intuitive. It required desire, not thought. Okay, let's not get edgy. When was this... Where was this edgy? I think this is just an emotional man talking about like a traumatic experience. I'm not sure where they were... Unless you mean mechanic? Heart, not head. Okay. That's the wife and child. What about the husband? He was still bleeding, but he wasn't drenched in it anymore. He started to come around too. I'm sorry, You're doing fine. Please continue. I did what I could. But then I realized I couldn't hear groaning coming from behind the car. Well, I could hear groaning coming from behind the car. I looked. I couldn't see anything. But still, the groaning, muffled. Now the shit and piss and blood. I mean, that's what happens when, you know, you're dying. You release your bodily functions. So he's just describing the scene. Muffled. Yeah, I wouldn't call that edgy either. I think that's just literally what happens when you die. Especially in a car crash. And then I realized it was coming from the trunk. It had come unlocked in the crash. There was someone in the trunk. Take your time. There was a man in there. Naked. Gagged. Trussed up. I'm wondering what the hell I've just stumbled into. When I hear a click behind me. Very close to my ear. I turn slowly with my hands up. And I have a gun in my face. It's a driver. The man I thought was the husband. So who was he? Without the blood, it was obvious. Miguel Rodriguez, the top man in Los Diablos cartel. As it was then, with his free hand he takes a wheel jack, kills the man in the trunk and drags the little girl out of the back. He didn't say a word. I couldn't watch. The noises were enough. I just stood there frozen. Useless. He had a gun pointing at you. Your options were limited. Maybe. Rodriguez just stared at me for what seemed like eternity, weighing up the situation. Finally, he gestured back towards the trunk. Him. Get him out of the trunk. Put him in the driver's seat, he said. And I did. I felt sick. Why did I as I asked? Then he said, do what you just did again. He said, do it again. Make everything clean. And I did. God forgive me, I did. Who were the victims? I didn't ask. He didn't say. I know Rodriguez like to take risks. Maybe the thought of driving down the highway with a torture victim gagged in the trunk and his wife and kid terrified in the back. Maybe it gave him a buzz. I don't know. So what happened? He got into the back seat of my car and told me to get in the front. I did. Man, this is so sad. Think about it. Raul thought this whole time that he witnessed a car crash happening and that the child is in shock from the mom and the dad dying, right? So all he wanted was for the child not to see all that horrific stuff. He didn't want the child to see her own parents covered in blood, piss and shit. So he willed the power into existence to make that disappear. just to find out the guy who he thought was the dad and the husband was actually one of the cartel's bosses, or at least a member of the cartel. And that guy witnessed how he made all that shit disappear, and is now doing like 1 + 1 = 2. I can use him. He was trying to help out a child for not being traumatized too much, and now got involved with the cartel like that. He basically got kidnapped. I follow these directions. Turn right there, turn left here. After maybe 20-30 minutes, he told me to stop. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up in the dark room. You disappeared. Yes. I spent my days chained up in an outhouse in the grounds of his villa. He saw how I could help further his lifestyle. He forced me to take drugs. It appealed to his sense of irony. Me, locked up in his villa and totally dependent on whatever chemicals he threw my way. Thank you, though, for making me clean. I don't know how, I'm not sure I want to, but thank you. It's a routine process. Getting back to the drug use at the villa, wouldn't that be counterproductive? No, by then, maybe a year in, I was using my ability almost all the time. It got to the stage where I couldn't control it anymore. It became a constant unconscious thing. Every day I was needed to cleanse some crime scene here or there. He used the drugs to keep me docile. You seen the footage of the school? I don't want to talk about that again. Not today. So that's how it went now. It also is a lot more brutal thinking about the fact that he is such a kind-hearted man. Like, the first thing we heard about him as a child is that he dragged a deer away from the road and tried to like clean his wounds and try to like cleanse the deer as much as possible. And now we have him also fighting against, like, being a very forceful voice against the cartel and trying to like push the government to actually take actions because he saw how bad the cartel treats everybody, or how bad the cartel is for like the country. And lo and behold, he becomes a slave for them. Yeah, poor guy just wants no one to suffer, yeah. Okay, now I get it. The entire plot of Steven Universe is an alternate reality. I still need to watch Steven Universe. I haven't watched that yet. Still need to watch that. What was I? That's okay. Look, I know there's a lot to take in. It looks like you need a break. I'll have someone escort you into the restroom. We'll recommence in 10 minutes. Redacted. Orange. We're back online. Raul, did you just clean crime scenes? Mostly, but not exclusively. Can you give me an example? There was a high-profile murder trial in 2007. I was smuggled into the courtroom in disguise. I was there to ruin the evidence. Specifically, a machete covered in the victim's blood and the murderer's fingerprints and a gun used to shoot her in the face. Exhibits 12A, 12B, 12C, 12D, and 12E were the bullets from the gun. I sat in that courtroom for 5 hours. My god, this is not... This is just fucked. I think it's like, when you think about ethically, this is probably one of the, like, it's not the most fucked up SCP we read, but ethically I feel so bad for him. Because like this is all the opposite of what he wanted to do with his powers. He wanted to have that power so a little girl would not be traumatized. And now he's over here fucking over the legal system because like all the evidence gets messed up. So all the criminals get away scot-free. The exact opposite of what he wants in life. Carry on. By the time the evidence was shown, the machete was clean. No blood visible. No identifiable fingerprints. The gun barrel no longer had uniquely identifiable striations, and neither did the bullets. Sanchez, the accused, walked free. Listen, I'm sorry, but I feel a little tired. We'll go through this in more detail in another session if you're agreeable to that. Get some rest. We'll speak again tomorrow. Honestly, Kenzie, this is one thing I have to tell you right now. A lot of the SCP Foundation researchers and doctors are usually very cold to people. They treat everybody who's involved with any anomalous thing as, like, you know, a thing. Some people, like some civilians, get treated nicely, but a lot of times if an anomaly is a human being, they don't often get like the, like, oh, I feel your pain, oh, I understand, let's take our time. They don't do that a lot of times. They very much just treat you as an it. Yeah, exactly. They're just bodies, not people to them. So Dr. J. Pascal here is like a good middle ground of, like, he is not like overly nice, but he's understanding. You know what I mean? Like, because there are a couple of researchers who actually fully try to be like, I'm on the same page as you. I'm trying to help you out, even if the Foundation at the end doesn't like allow me to do what you ask of me. I'm still trying to be here for you. We still talk about Jones, yeah, exactly. So what we have here is a good middle ground of, like, he's being understanding, but he's not like a friend, so to speak. Interview suspended to be recommended next day. Like, for example, like, he's like being very understanding. Like, this is a hard thing to go for Raoul right now. Okay, induction interview 01 of 53. Okay, SB2961 referred to by name to 8 Corporation. Yeah, see, now this is a case of, like, they probably called him SB2961 a lot of times, but then, like, of course, giving who Raoul as a person is, probably doesn't like that. He's like, hey, I'd rather you just talk to me and just call me by my name. So, okay. Which I think, does it say here as well at the beginning of this interview? Yeah, referred to by name. Yeah, so they decided pretty early on that he should be he should not be named SCP-2961 when they talk to him, but still probably say that when they talk about him around. Did you get any sleep? I don't know if I'd call it sleep. Something in the water, right? How were you treated by the cartel? I'd campaigned against these people for years, and suddenly I was their slave, cleaning up their kidnappings, their rapes, their murders. How do you think they treated me? You've seen the footage. The feather duster, the pink pinner throw, 4 apron, the ritual humiliation. That's another thing to add to the top of it. Is that not only is he doing the exact opposite of what his personality, what his character, what he stands for, but then they also have the fucking nerve to be like, here, have the apron because you feather dust is an apron because you are made. You clean up our mess. And yeah, I would be pissed. But what are you supposed to do? You're just one guy. Regardless how they treated you, you were invaluable to the cartel. I was, yes. But Rodriguez had become distrustful. Why? He came to me one day whilst I was chained up, pulled up a chair and looked at me for the longest time. Said I could make problems go away. Then he sighed. He said if I could make them go away, I could make them come back too. And that, he said, concerned him deeply. I was a witness to a lot of things he didn't want to be witnessed. And he sat there and just looked at me. Maybe 5 minutes or more. I'm thinking that this is it. My final day on Earth. I have outgrown my use. But then, the strangest thing. What happened? He told me that he and the other cartel heads all had personal video collections. Films of informers, rivals, innocents being tortured and murdered. He had hundreds of hours worth. I know he had a purpose-built dungeon. I cleansed it enough times. Carry on. He said he wanted something better than films. The other cartel bosses had those. He was Miguel Rodriguez and he deserved something better. Something no one else had. So he sits there looking at me and says he wants me to bring the disappeared back. He wants me to make all the DNA, all the blood and the shit and the horror that I had made vanish and bring it all kicking and screaming back into the plane of existence. He wanted to see his victims again. Wanted to replay the last horrific moments. Not on tape though. How, then? In the flesh. And you agreed. Now see, now that's what I mean. See, like, that's like the moment where I'm like, okay, Pascal, do you really think knowing who Raul is as a person, you think he's gonna be like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I had no choice. You have to understand. His comment about me being a witness to the crimes was a warning. But in those words, I saw a way to honor those I'd helped silence. I resolved to be a witness in every sense of the word. Catalog the crimes committed against the victims. Those were my intention, at least. Can you clarify that? I wanted to do the right thing, but my intentions, they were sold by the drugs and the greed and everything else. Everything else? Such as, well, the evil people aren't even the SCP. Yeah. Well, depends on the SP, right? But yeah, that is definitely the case. His villa was unlike any other place on Earth. Limitless depravity, cruelty, greed, ambition, money, drugs, it all fused together. Became something else. I don't know what. Reality didn't behave like reality there. It couldn't cope. It became corrupted, just like everything else. You believe the villa itself was anomalous? Maybe. Yes. I don't know. There was a room adjoining the torture chamber. Christ. Do you feel sick again, Raul? You look. Silence for 8 seconds. Being clean comes at a price, doesn't it? What do you mean? Silence for 21 seconds. Raul? What do you mean? I can see it all clearly now. Like a veil's being lifted. What have I done? Well, you need to tell me. I need to go back. You mentioned yesterday a whole world of things that can't exist. You want to see more? That room, and Christ, the abominations inside it. I have to go back now. You want to destroy them? Don't shake your head. I want to save them. Wow, what exactly are these abominations? They disappeared. The cartels? Don't shake your head. The worlds. Silence for 11 seconds. Okay, understood. Standard CA/C prep. I'll advise him now. Well, the following is non-negotiable. You will remain on site for the duration of any action howsoever, wheresoever and whensoever it is pursued and resolved. Your presence, insofar it is required, will be limited to locating and identifying additional anomalous phenomena and your observations. Communications and engagement will be conducted entirely via remote means. For the purpose of said action, you have zero authority, and your role is advisory in nature only. Notwithstanding that, prior to, during and after said action, your involvement may be augmented, diminished, terminated, or increased without notice. Notwithstanding that, your involvement is entirely voluntary, and you waive all rights howsoever they exist and however granted, for the duration of said action. You accept full responsibility for any injury, harm, or negative association to yourself resulting from said action howsoever, wheresoever, and whensoever it is sustained. You accept that the Genimide group, insofar as it is or is not bona fide legal entity, cannot be held responsible for any trauma of physical, mental, spiritual, chronological, dimensional, identity, or personality-related nature, or for any other causation, howsoever, wheresoever, or whensoever it occurs. Silence for 7 seconds. I accept. When does this happen? We know the location of the villa. You can guide the team to this thing without it. Don't nod. Yes. Okay. It's happening now. We need to move you to somewhere more appropriate. Interview terminated. Oh shit. Shit, boys and girls, we're going in. I say that, but there's only like 3 more paragraphs left. SB2961 moved to security unit 284 and debriefed on the physical layout of Miguel Rodriguez's villa, its defenses and estimated threat count prior to an imminent containment/retrieval action. On redacted MTF Zeta-17, Los Cuervos were involved in a C action at the villa of Los Ocultos head Miguel Rodriguez. What is this? Covert acquisition/containment. 5 members of the MTF team were injured in action with 0 fatalities. 89 hostile parties were neutralized in the action, 17 permanently. As a result of the action, 1 anomalous object with at least 250 plus unique recorded sub-designation and 1 anomalous location were contained. These are currently awaited classification and permanent containment documentation pending. SB2961 is currently cooperating with this ongoing process. Information that could positively identify any unique sub-designation as declassed resources or subset 2961 CFM individuals is to be held separately and is to not be made available to SCP-2961. Alejandra Flores, Rafael Flores, Francisca Flores, Adriana Flores. I mean, we went in a little bit, but okay. 250 individuals fused into one being. Maybe not individuals, just 250 beings. God, Miguel is a fucked up individual. That is crazy. That was cool though. I really like this SCP because of the emotional storytelling in this. Like, I think it was a good way to like be like, hey, not only do we know he is very much against the cartel, and he very much tries to push the government to like take action, but then him saying like, hey, the first thing I ever did that like it was part of my character is that I helped a deer that got run over move aside the road and then like try to cleanse his wounds with my shirt. It gives us a clear understanding of who he is, and then of course like the follow up with like him wanting to protect the daughter, the child, from a gruesome scene, just shows you what kind of a heart he has. He's a very kind-hearted man. Just for him to be used the way he was. Ironically, reminds me of that Marvel character that was also 10 mobsters fused together, except he was a zombie gamma mutant being. I mean that's a whole different thing, but sure. I just really, I think the way the story was told made me feel for him a lot. Especially like, just like how much bullshit he had to like go through with the cartel. The MTF team at the end is named the Diaz in Spanish. Oh my god, that's so fitting. That's so cool. Yeah, no. Honestly, Wills. Remember, this was the first SCP from the Alpha Wills that we got to read. Very, very strong start for us to be to get to know his work, their work. Pardon me. Yeah, no. Only an hour and a half has passed, and I'm only like 2 SCPs in. What the fuck? How? Like, this was supposed to be a shorter stream. How? Unless the other like 8 are a lot shorter, I'm slacking behind.